Okay, welcome back, fandom. Thanks for joining us here today. We're going to go over with you the Week 9 recap between the Carolina Panthers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Thanks again for joining us. As always, I've got Cowboy Joe, my co-host. Cowboy Joe, how's it going?
Man, doing great. See the background, very festive, getting ready for Christmas. Excited about the Cowboys. You know, they played very well against Pittsburgh. Almost, gave them that one loss. But, I'm not here about talking about the Cowboys nor anything else. What I want to do, Jeff, today is actually introduce a new segment to Carolina Fandom. It's called Fan of the Week. Basically, we take one or a couple of tweets from fans throughout the game and, highlight them in our show and show them, hey, much love from us. And, see if they want to join us in the show and talk to us about what drove them to write that tweet or what were they thinking when they sent that tweet out. And, that's what I want to do now going forward. This is for the fans, so this is all about them. And, Jeff, who's our first lucky winner?
Well, I got to say, our first lucky winner is Jared Feinberg.
Nice.
And you can find him on Twitter at JRodDraftScout. And you might already be following him. If not, it's definitely a good idea. He is definitely what we think of as a world-class Panthers fan. We appreciate everything, the content that he provides. He just kind of encapsulates the type of fan that us at Carolina Fandom are looking for. So, and this show is all about the fans. And Jared's a great person to start this off. In fact, I've got a couple tweets I just wanted to share that he came up with during the game. The first one here, what a drive by the Panthers to start the game. It was methodical. They took their time and executed well for most of the drive. Took a lot of time off the clock. Great play call on the fourth down to McCaffrey. They needed to step up in the red zone today, especially against Kansas City. So, stuff like that. Very supportive, positive types of tweets and stuff. He's very knowledgeable, good content. So if you're not following Jared, do so. So we appreciate him being our first fan of the week. Here are some additional tweets as well that we just kind of wanted to showcase. Feel free to take a look at this during our video now, but you can also see it on our Twitter page at Carolina_Fandom. You can see these tweets there as well as they're retweeted. So nice. Thanks again, Jared. And we look forward to more fans of the week to come.
Congratulations, Jared. And yeah, fandom, check him out. He made some powerful tweets, and check those two tweets out. Definitely, because they were good. They were great. And you know what? This is a great way to start this new segment of Fan of the Week by having Jared on. So let's just keep on coming, fandom.
Yeah, and by the way, if you are Fan of the Week, if you're voted Fan of the Week, we would love to have you come on the show and just, you can talk with us, provide some of your own insight and takes. We'd love to have you on the show. We invited Jared to come on, but unfortunately he had other arrangements, obligations, so he was unable to join us. But he did thank us, and of course we thank him. So, okay, let's move on to the segment I like to call Quick Reactions. We do this every week, and my first reaction is this. After watching that game, yeah, they're 3-6 right now, the Panthers are, but there's a lot of talk about them. You're hearing in the national media, ooh, wow, we're not really too excited about playing the Panthers. Other teams are saying this, right? Mm-hmm. They're a pesky team. They're a fun team to watch. Win or lose, this is a fun team to watch. That's my first reaction, and I think a lot of people felt that way. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree with that. They're a fun team to watch. They're a fun team to, break down. This is not fandom. This is not a rebuild team. I'm 100% sure it's not a rebuild team. This team wants to get out there and give it their all and try to get that W for you guys. But imagine how much exposure they had if they could actually force a punt. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Imagine how successful this team could be if they forced punts. It's I hate to say that, but it's true. They have forced 2 punts in the last 3 games, which is, we will get back to this. We'll cover it a little bit more in depth a little bit later. But yeah, you got to force punts, man. I mean, they're starting to get some third down stops, but these third downs are already deep into their territory, so they can set up a field goal. You got to get fourth or third down stops on their end of the field. That's what you need, and we just haven't had that lately. So yeah, that's a quick reaction from me. All right, so what went right and what went wrong in the game? A couple thoughts that I have as far as what went right. They held the Chiefs to 30 yards rushing. 30 yards. That's, I mean, granted, Kansas City decided early that the way to beat Carolina was passing the ball. And we knew this. We knew this going in. We know they kind of employ a soft type of zone where these 6 yard, 7 yard, 8 yard passes are available. And of course, with Kansas City, with Travis Kelce being their number one target, I mean, he was just open all day long. I mean, the mismatches against him and on a linebacker or a safety, I mean, he was going to win most of those. And he's just a very good route runner, excellent hands. Of course, he's got the size. So that was, that's kind of a negative right off the bat. But as far as the rushing yards, yeah, I mean, they held them to 30 yards rushing. That's impressive. And Teddy Bridgewater continues to be efficient. 73.4% completion rate on the versus Kansas City. And now I think it's 71.9 overall. We'll get to the stats here a little bit later, but
that's impressive.
Yeah,
Very
that's impressive. What else? Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson, and Chris McCaffrey each had 9 catches.
CMC is back, guys.
CMC is back. Well, at least for now. That late game injury has a lot of people concerned. And
should I say CMC is back? Question mark? Question mark?
Yeah, we'll see. If you're on a fantasy league and you have Mike Davis, don't drop him just yet.
And that's fantasy inside tip from the guru right there.
Inside tip. What else? They were 3 for 3 on fourth down, including another fake punt. How awesome was that? Plus that one 4th and 14 play. This is later in the third quarter where Teddy Bridgewater just ran for the first down, jumped for the first down. The announcers went crazy. It was nuts. And of course, they were 1 for 3 on fourth downs last week, which was one of the biggest reasons why they lost. This week, they were able to convert, and of course, they kept it close. You have to remember, too, that Joey Sly had I think it was a 47-yard field goal attempt that he missed that hit the left upright due to the wind. My goodness, that ball. If he makes that, this is a different game. I mean, they possibly win.
Woke up Kansas City. This team gave it a little nudge to say, hey, don't think, your path is that easy.
That's right. That's right, which is why I was saying earlier, teams don't want to play Carolina. They're a pesky team. They're a tough team. And we're seeing that completely. We're seeing that. Yeah, the 4 for 4 in the red zone. That's right. And they're the only team. I don't know if you knew this. They're the only team in the NFL with a perfect 100% red zone success in the last 3 games.
I did not know that.
How about that?
That's a great stat to have, especially with I have to give kudos to the coaching staff. The coaching staff they're game planning these games to the T. They're doing such a great job on game planning for each opponent, and that proves it. 100% in the red zone in the last 3 games. That proves that they are doing their due diligence on trying to get this team to score in that red zone. So that's awesome.
And they need to score, especially if their defense is going to allow continue to allow points like that. So you gotta keep pace, right?
Yes.
All right. So let's talk about what went wrong. Well, the Panthers stopped Kansas City on 6 of 11 third downs. However, they only forced 1 punt. Like I said before, they can stop them, and we've seen that they've stopped them here, right? But they're stopping them, when it's an opportunity for a field goal or
it's too deep in when they're too deep inside their own zone. So
exactly right. 12 penalties. They had 12 penalties for 82 yards, 6 on the offense, 6 on the defense. 5 were pre-snap. Coaches hate the pre-snap penalties.
Those 5 penalties on the third down really hurt them.
Yeah, 5 of the 12 penalties occurred on third down, exactly. But yeah, penalties are hurting. They have allowed 7.0 plays per drive this season. It's the most in the NFL. 49.3% of opponents' drives end in a score. And this kind of goes back to my talked before about force the punt, right? Get them off the field. We've been talking about this for a while, and you know what? I get it that maybe it's a personnel thing, right? I mean, they could use some help on this in the secondary. They could use some additional talent as in the linebacker core, right? I mean, there's some holes on defense, even though they drafted all defensive players in the draft. There's still some holes, and they're going to have to fill those. And until those are filled, we're going to have to deal with stuff like this. So, I guess the good news is, if we can look at a silver lining here, is that there's potential and there's a possibility for improvement, right? They're not that far off. They just need to get those extra pieces. And until then, we're going to have to deal with games like this. So
I tend to disagree with you on this one because they're all professional. They got drafted. Mm-hmm. They're all in a professional team. They need to stick with their playbook. The defensive coordinator, he's dialing up some good plays. It's just execution is where they're failing right now. And I think that's, lack of talent. And I'm not saying they're lack of talent at all because, anybody could have one of those Rudy moments. But I think they just need to execute and follow the playbook to the T and not try to cause or try to do too much. Yeah. Try to get those gaps, cover those gaps, block that hole. Because, that soft zone, pull back, let just rush forward and pull the rest back.
And that also comes with experience too. I think that's what I'm getting at is they're inexperienced in these areas and they could use some talent as well as experience. Jeremy Chin was not playing in this past game with a knee injury. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but I mean, he was missed.
They were missing the general, and I think this is where you miss Kuechly the most.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. It's so disheartening to think of this team without Kuechly, but because we've been used to him for so long, and now we're just kind of starting over, and sometimes it's frustrating, I guess, is what I'm getting at. So a new segment that we're going to add to the show here is Cowboy Joe and myself are going to go over a difference maker on who we think the difference maker was in the game. For me, it was Teddy Bridgewater. And he showed toughness, he showed grit, he showed desire, and it was all kind of summed up in that one play on 4th and 14. There was 13 minutes left. The score was 26-17. The Panthers were down. And what does he do? He runs for a first down on 4th and 14, where he dives and completely throws his body into the air, not knowing if he's going to get hurt or not, knowing that he just needs to get that first down and he doesn't care. And he did that. And to me, that was, I think not only was that kind of an aha, a wow moment for me, but I imagine his teammates also felt that way. And coaching staff, for their quarterback to completely throw disregard out the window and try to do whatever he could to get a first down. It kind of reminds me of that Cam Newton play against Atlanta where he had like 6 players on his back and he carried them all to a first down. Very similar. What else about Bridgewater? He hit on 73% of his passes. Season completion percentage is now 71.9. That's second in the league next to Drew Brees, who is just an unconscionable 74%. Teddy Bridgewater was my difference maker. How about you?
And kudos to Bridgewater, and I agree with you. Bridgewater was a great difference maker for the Panthers, and nobody could stop Brees. Look what Tom Brady had. My difference maker actually is Christian McCaffrey, CMC. That's what I'm saying. He's back. He picked off right where he left off, came in there. He brought that passion back to the Panthers that was missing in some of those drives. 4 for 4 in the red zone. Finished 69 yards rushing, 82 yards receiving. The man could catch the ball. And 2 touchdowns. That 4th and 3 and the first drive, that just brought back the life to the Panthers. And he's back. So that's my difference maker. Somebody that could actually come back where he left off and just, pick it up and just keep going and driving and say, hey, guys, you know what? I'm back. We're going to do this. And let's just get this done.
Yeah, he was a key piece to the game, obviously. Hopefully his late game injury is not something that's going to keep him out this coming week against Tampa Bay, but it's possible that he might have to be shelved again, for maybe at least 1 week. We'll see. We won't know more until Wednesday. We're going to talk about this a little bit later with the injury notes. But yeah, McCaffrey is definitely welcomed back. All right, so next segment here. What stood out? Well, the Panthers were 3 for 3 on fourth down, right? We already talked about that. The two huge plays, the Teddy run and then the successful fake punt.
Yes.
The second week in a row, they've run a fake punt. The teams are going to start now to think, we better look out for that. Remember, they also tried the onside kick, and they almost got that. I mean, I really like what Coach Rule is doing here with these non-conservative types of play calls when they need them. I just kind of wish they went for there was a fourth down where they kicked a field goal earlier in the game. I kind of wish they went for it instead, but you can't change everything, right?
Yeah, but think about this. Coach Rule is actually living on that edge and making that, those fourth down plays, those fake punts. He's just throwing the playbook away, and we're not traditional. This is us now. We're going to be grimy, and we're going to stick it out with you guys. Pound for pound, yard for yard, we're going to be there.
Yeah, I saw a tweet during the game. Someone called him Riverboat Rule, and I just had to chuckle because that's pretty cool. What else stood out? Sam Franklin. We could be looking back at this game and say this is the Sam Franklin game. Those two back-to-back big plays where he kind of stuffed Le'Veon Bell on a tackle for a loss on a reception, and then he sacked Mahomes on the next play. It looked like in both of these plays. The video shows that he was kind of mirroring Bell and just kind of waiting for him to get the ball, and he was zeroed in on him. And he kind of did the same thing with Mahomes too. So kudos to him for making a play, being a playmaker, and helping the team on defense. I mean, at the time when they sacked Mahomes, they forced a field goal attempt that Kansas City missed wide left, and the game there was still Carolina 17-13. So kudos to Sam Franklin.
A great job on Franklin on the spies. He was actually on Bell, like he was really on Bell. The spy worked perfectly to the defense for the Panthers, but ultimately it came to who could outlast who, and
that's right.
Mahomes got the win.
I mean, it's hard to go against Mahomes and get a win. Let alone, on the road too, as well. And a team like Carolina that's dealing with some adversity and like I said, struggles. But what else? We already mentioned the Panthers had 3 players with 9 receptions, McCaffrey, Anderson, and Samuel. Again, to me, that stood out. The time of possession was in their favor, 38 minutes and 1 second in favor of Carolina. Usually when they have a high time of possession, they play good games. And this was one of them. This is a good game. You hate to talk about games that they were close, but then they lost, a moral victory. But this was exactly what that is. And you know what? If the Panthers don't win another game, but they keep each game close, as a fan, I'm happy with that.
I'm very happy with that because the future is bright.
Exactly. The future is bright. They're not that far away. I mean, look what Miami is doing right now, and look where they were last year or the year before. I mean, they're looking great, especially on defense.
Yeah, but I'm looking for Miami to implode sooner or later.
Oh, okay.
Confidence is an all-time high, but it's also a tricky situation when your confidence is way too high and you play a team that you think you're going to beat, can't beat. And let me tell you something. Kyler Murray kept it close.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? Ride the wave for now because Miami's playing well.
Exactly.
Anyhow, this is not about Miami. I also wanted to include this too. My goodness. The Panthers ran 83 offensive snaps. Okay, that's a lot of plays. And DJ Moore was on the field for 81 of them, yet he had just 3 targets and 2 receptions for 18 yards. And so, here's a guy who had, 3 straight games of 90 yards plus. He's a key contributor on this team. I'm really kind of puzzled as to why he was not targeted more, why he didn't have success on those targets. Perhaps maybe if he did, that he gets more targets. I know that the left side of the offensive line struggled this week, and I don't really know for sure if Moore is generally lining up on the left side so that it would be a kind of a forced throw if indeed the line, allowed the defense to kind of hurry Bridgewater and he couldn't make those plays to Moore. I'm speculating here. I'm just trying to think of how is it that they can have 3 players with 9 catches and then Moore is just, with the pedigree that he has and what we've seen from him in the past, why did he have such a down game? Why is he having, quote, down games here and there? He's having a roller coaster type of season. And from a fantasy perspective, I'm sure people aren't too happy with that. But, just looking at it from a Panthers fan, you kind of wonder, like, what's up with Moore? What's up with the reason why Moore is not getting these? So I don't have an answer for that, fandom. What about you, Joey?
Honestly, I think he was more of a decoy this week.
Okay.
They game plan for him. They know what he could do, the ability, and I'm pretty sure KC's defense were prepared for him. But that freed up McCaffrey.
Huh?
That freed up, Samuel. It freed up Anderson. But I think sometimes Moore is playing that decoy role because there's things that they're seeing that offensive coordinator is actually seeing what that defense is bringing out. And if they're putting a soft zone on him, yes, I'll go to Moore all the time. Mm-hmm. But if they're playing man-to-man, I'm kind of skeptical because Moore, you got some bigger cornerbacks that could actually manhandle him a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm afraid of.
And that could be it. And if that's the case, it is just, chalk it up as a rough game, a tough matchup, and move on. As I said before, the offensive line struggled. They allowed 3 sacks. The left side in particular, Greg Little and Chris Reed, the guard, repeatedly were penetrated on pass rush. And, of course, that causes quarterback hits, quarterback hurries, quarterback pressures, which alter the intentions of Bridgewater in terms of his progression. So, that's something that stood out to me. Carolina's +1 in the turnover battle here this week, and they bump up to +3 on the year. They have they don't really give the ball away a lot. 1.0 giveaways per game, and that's tied with Pittsburgh for the 6th best in the NFL. I threw another stat in here that last year in 2019, the Panthers were giving away 2.2 per game. So that's a big difference compared to last year. So in that sense, the difference between Kyle Allen and, of course, Cam Newton for a couple games, but mostly Kyle Allen and Teddy Bridgewater is huge. And a lot of it has to do with his efficiency.
Oh, regardless, Teddy Bridgewater was a great pickup for the Panthers. Great pickup.
So we mentioned before, they were 100% in the red zone in each of the last 3 games, and this bumps them up to 19th in terms of ranking in the red zone. They were 26th going into this game. So you look at the stats and the conversions and where they rank right now, we're seeing some improvement there. So that's good. Still need to stop on defense, though. That 31st in the league in third down conversion percentage, 54.2. I mean, that's more than half of third downs result in a first down. You can't have that. And then when you throw in what we already talked about, penalties on third down. So let's say you stop them. Let's say you're emotionally, wow, yeah, we made a great play. And then there's a defensive holding penalty or a pass interference or offsides. How big is that, right? So it seems like there's so many things that can go wrong on a third down, and Carolina is seeing them all. 31st in the league and stopping opponents on third down. That's definitely something that needs to improve.
Yeah, they do, and I think they got it. Honestly, they're getting much better. I think the penalties are killing them. They need to provide more stops, and that all starts, like you said, more time in the practice field, more time reading those playbooks. So they'll get there.
They'll get there. So areas to work on. With every week, we gonna kind of go over this. Number 1, forced punts. We got to get the defense off the field. The defense has forced only 2 punts in the last 3 games. I mentioned that against the Saints, the Falcons, and the Chiefs. They need to reduce penalties, especially on third down. Again, we mentioned that as well. 5 penalties on third down versus Kansas City, 3 by the defense. And the quarterback pressure. They have to get that quarterback pressure. 16.5% of opponents' drops when they're dropping back are pressured, and that's the lowest in the league. Mm-hmm. So, that soft zone is, it's great because it doesn't allow the big play, but, each one of these, like I said before, 7.0 plays per drive to lead the league.
Yeah.
That's a huge hurdle to climb. And, the offense is playing well. The offense is playing like they should win games. If they had let's just say we could improve the defense by 20%, over across the board. they're winning games because the offense can win these games. It's shown. So I think if there's an area to work on, it's all this is all defense right here. All of these areas to work on our defense.
And good
Offense
point to
seems to be
make.
clicking pretty well.
Yeah, the offense has got it all together right now. They're trying to keep it close as best they can. Now it's up to the defense to go ahead and finish it up.
That's right. Defense has to do their part.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about the injuries. Christian McCaffrey, shoulder, whether it's shoulder, clavicle, collarbone area, sternum, something like that was causing him to do this with his shoulder. There's concern. Matt Rule says at least day to day, right? He's not really saying a whole lot, and we expect him not to. However, ESPN's Ian Rappaport tweeted out earlier today, he said that his week 10 is in doubt. And, we have to understand and think that's a possibility. And like I said before, if you're in a fantasy league with Mike Davis, don't let go of him just yet, because he might be forced into action against Tampa Bay. But Russell Okung, the left tackle, still dealing with a calf injury. So we saw Greg Little, and I mentioned the kind of struggles that he had. Struggles in the pass protection, not the run blocking. Now, he's really strong there. He's a bull. And a lot of offensive linemen are. But when it comes to the pass protection, that's kind of a challenge. So we'd love to have Russell Okung back. Jeremy Chin, the knee injury. This is what I found out, that he possibly re-aggravated a pre-existing injury that he suffered in college. So he's day to day. I mean, just hearing that, it's kind of like, whoa, how long is he going to be out? Let's hope that he comes back.
And that's the one that concerns me the most out of the three here.
We don't know specifics on that, and hopefully we do. Is it a meniscus? Is it a sprain? Is it, what are we talking? PCL, ACL, MCL? What are we dealing with here? We don't really have that information, and these days teams, coaches don't have to share that information particularly, right? So,
hey, if I was a coach, all I have to say is Jeremy Chin has a knee boo boo. That's it.
Exactly. The Bill Belichick school of injury information. Or, the Saints are also notorious for not providing information on that kind of stuff. But so, those are our injury notes. Not a whole lot, but yet the ones that we have here are pretty significant. So that's definitely something to watch and to keep an eye on and to monitor. All right. So next week, let's take a look at our preview here for next week. It's a home game. 2 home games coming up right in a row, Tampa Bay and Detroit. But the first one is the Bucs, and the Bucs are coming off a tough loss against New Orleans. Tom Brady arguably played his worst game ever. I mean, did you watch the whole game? Some of it?
Not the whole game, because it just, there was a tweet that made me laugh so much that I just you know what? It's true. There was a tweet from a fan saying, Tom Brady sure does miss the Miami Dolphins and New York Jets at this moment.
Oh, wow. You know what? That's a shot. That's a shot fired. But what was I going to say? The game, the billing for this game was supposed to be so huge, right? Because you've got Brady and you've got Breeze, who are tied for the career lead in touchdown passes. Or was Breeze ahead by one? One of the two.
Breeze was ahead by one.
Breeze was ahead by one. He wound up getting 4 touchdowns in the game on the day. And Tom, of course, nothing, right? The lone field goal, which, whatever, it should have been shut out. So that was supposed to be this big, pomp and circumstance, back and forth. Breeze got a touchdown, Brady got a touchdown. I can just totally see Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth playing that up, and they never really got the chance to.
No, they didn't.
So that was lost. But week 2, the Panthers played the Bucs, and they lost 31-17, right? But it was a much tighter game than the score says. And I think we're in for a tight game, especially with this game now being in Carolina. We know what the offense can do. It seems like, Mike Davis is capable of doing things if McCaffrey's not playing. Let's say he doesn't play. I hate to be that person. Let's say he doesn't play and Mike Davis does. I mean, he can still produce and give us the yards and production that we need to get from this game. So the offense is playing well. Defense at home, I think, plays better. Hopefully we get Jeremy Chin back, but Rasul Douglas is playing well. It looks like Sam Franklin is now turned a corner. Brian Burns, we've got Yetur Gross-Matos back. He didn't really play a whole lot in this past game, but again, he's a rookie. He's earning his stripes, and he's getting there. Hopefully we see a little bit more from him. And
I will see more snaps this week.
yeah, and hopefully the home crowd has a little bit of oomph in them and can help.
Are they doing 25% or are they just doing the regular 10?
That's a good question. I'm not sure of that. We'll have to effort that and let you know on the comments. But the last 3 games, I was looking at Tampa Bay. The last 3 games, Tampa Bay has allowed 69% of touchdowns in the red zone as far as opponents. So this is something that they were pretty strong with earlier in the year, right? And they've fallen off the wagon a little bit in the last few games. Now, granted, one of those is the Saints game where Breeze just went off on them. Still, maybe that's something that they can exploit. They exploited the Chiefs. Going into the game, the Chiefs were 70%, right? Real close to this. And they were able to go 4 for 4. And they're 100% in the red zone over the last 3 games. No other team has done that right now. There's that. Any thoughts for you on this game coming up, Cowboy Joe?
So one key thing that they have to do is defense. Defense has to step up a little bit more. Tom Brady is known to have a bad game and then come out and just air it out the next game. And he has a good game right after. I never seen Tom Brady have 2 back-to-back bad games. So that's something that I will keep an eye on. If I'm the coaching staff, prepare, run this, get some film off off New Orleans because they did a great job in pestering him.
Well, they had like what was it? 13 quarterback pressures at the half. Yes. I think that's what I heard.
And at one point, he was just throwing it away because he just felt the pressure, and there was no pressure near him.
I mean, that's what good defenses do. That good defenses are built on their ability to get to the quarterback and to cause them to make decisions that they wouldn't like to make.
Exactly.
And can the Panthers do that? They're going to have to do that because if they let Tom Brady dink and dunk and pick them apart like like other teams have that we've seen, right? We've seen Drew Brees do it. We've seen Matt Ryan do it. We've seen Patrick Mahomes do it, right? Brady can do that as well. He's very good at it, and there's a reason why he's the greatest of all time. It's going to be a battle. It's a tough challenge, but hopefully that pass rush will come alive. Brian Burns might be able to get something going here, like a strip sack again, and give us a couple chances. Let's get some third down stops.
Do some, defense, run some stunts, some blitz the first quarter.
Yeah.
Have him, razzled. If you razzle Tom Brady, he's going to be like that the whole game. And I noticed that about him. If you get to him fast, he's already out of his game. Now, Burns, I think Burns could do it. I honestly think this team could pull it off, and I'm going to call it, Panther fans. I'm going to call the reverse. We lost by 31-17. We're going to win 31-17.
All right. I like that. That sounds good. If we can do that, I'm all on board.
And McCaffrey plays.
And McCaffrey plays. Gosh, we hope so. Hopefully it's just a pain tolerance thing, and we know that he's pretty good with that. If that's indeed a possibility, if that's the case. If he can practice, say, on Friday, I think that's a good chance. But,
yes.
We're going to have to monitor that, read into the tea leaves with the Wednesday injury update, and just kind of go from there. But
I'm just saying, I'm starting him in my fantasy. I have him. Ian Rappaport's report. Yeah, he's a great reporter for ESPN. But, the passion that CMC has, he got back on the field. He felt it. He got 2 touchdowns. He's got that hunger back in his eyes, and I can see it. So I don't think a shoulder injury is going to stop him.
Well, we will see, and we will report back when we do the recap of Tampa Bay. Cowboy Joe, anything else? Any parting thoughts?
Honestly, fandom, keep safe. This as COVID starts rising again, I just want you guys to keep safe. Keep listening to us. We're here to, provide you everything we can. And if you have any suggestions about what you want us in the show, any segments you want us to bring in, if Fan of the Week is great and you want something else, let us know. We're more than happy to do it. And, Jeff is awesome with that stuff. He's he provides us with all this stats. So I think Fandom, if you need anything from us, we're more than happy to oblige.
That's right, guys. And thanks so much for watching. Give us a like. Subscribe to our channel, of course, and share your comments and thoughts on the show. We're really happy to have you listening and watching us, and we'd love to have you on the show. If you're interested, come on board because we want to talk Carolina, and it's not just Panthers, guys. We're talking about MLS. We're talking about the Hornets. We got an NBA draft coming up here. The Hornets have the number 3 pick in the draft. Who do you want? Who should they take? I mean, it's been since
Michael
forever.
Jordan.
Yeah. Hey, he was the 3rd pick in the draft back in 85, 84.
The Carolina Hurricanes, which, I don't know if everybody follows hockey, but they're a good team. I see them. They got some talent there.
They do. That's true. And you know what? If there's a sport in the Carolinas and there's a fan that enjoys that, guess what? We're fans of you.
Yes.
So hey, we appreciate that, and we'd love to have you on the show. So feel free. You can hit us up on Twitter at Carolina_Fandom, and of course check out our YouTube channel as well. So for Cowboy Joe, I'm Jeff Hasley. Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you next week with the recap of the Buccaneers game.
Same tree next week also.
Yeah.